When asked to list the benefits of being in the UK Union, Scottish Tory leader Douglas Ross was left scrambling for answers. He landed on the UK's COVID response and vaccine deployment when pressed. This, it seemed, was his best reason for us all to stay shackled in a broken political union. But he's on shaky ground if that's going to be his approach. Without doubt, the UK was quick off the mark with vaccines, and the UK government certainly played its part in that prompt response. But it was a reaction that was possible in no small part due to the incredible work undertaken by the scientific community, particularly those who worked on the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, of course along with their Swedish partners. But of course that's only part of the story. Few of us will ever forget the Prime Minister's own response to the initial surge in COVID cases. "Let the bodies pile high" was his well-reported choice of words. Hardly the comfort people needed when lives were at risk. Then, of course, came the lockdown-breaking parties that ended in UK lawmakers becoming law breakers. When people needed to trust their government most, they were treated to falsehoods repeatedly by the Prime Minister. His lies were perpetrated amid the worst health pandemic in living history. That's not something that people can easily forget. The Prime Minister and his government asserted without any basis that they could only vaccinate the public because of Brexit. They claimed that the big, bad European Medicines Agency would have stopped them. It's a lie that's still repeated, and it's still an absolute whopper. Yet back then, the UK was still transitioning from the EU and was still subject to EU laws. As the Director of Vaccine Procurement, Kate Bingham, said of the claims, any other country could have registered the vaccine under EU law, so that was nothing to do with Brexit. The Tories didn't spin this line because they believed it to be true. They did it because it fitted with their Brexit propaganda campaign. In fact, the UK registered the vaccines under EU law. It really does speak for itself that Ross thinks the UK response to a crisis that has left the public trust in tatters is his strongest defence of the Union. Douglas Ross also claimed that research indicated that if Scotland were not part of a political union with the UK, we would have missed out on over 1 million vaccinations. That's quite a statement to make, given the impact damaging public trust had on the vaccination programme. It also begs the question of how several small independent countries have successfully vaccinated their populations and what would have made Scotland different. Malta, for instance, has vaccinated more people per 100 of the population than the UK. And if you're interested, CNN has an excellent vaccine tracker showing the UK behind many nations, including the independent countries of Singapore, Denmark, Sweden, Belgium and Ireland, and Finland. Some are in the EU and some are not, but all have delivered more shots in the arms by their population's measures. So again, why would Scotland be the only independent country that wouldn't have been able to vaccinate its population? Now, Ross and his colleagues love to talk up the broad shoulders of the UK government financial support. It's as if no other country, large or small, took action to protect its citizens' livelihoods. During lockdown in 2020, Columbia University looked at the support nations were given to their people. And it's striking that again, independent Malta was at the top of the list, providing 25% of GDP to its people compared to the UK's 5%. The UK came 47th by the measures used. Now, even factoring in banking support that pushed up the rankings, that much of that funding never even reached the people who needed it. In France, by comparison, 100% of the wages were paid to those who were on low pay. In the Netherlands, they covered 90% of wages. Every government with fiscal control has the power to help the people they serve. It never adds up as to why Ross and his colleagues believe that Scotland would be the only country not able to do this. While on fiscal responsibility, remember the dodgy procurement process, the cronyism and the wasted millions spent by awarding contracts to their buddies. There was a damning report by the Westminster Committee on the PPE procurement shambles and the tens of billions of pounds wasted on test and trace measures never used, or what they quoted as the eye-watering sums spent on overpriced consultants. Now, Douglas Ross may want to wear his rose-tinted glasses when looking at the UK's response to the pandemic, but the rest of us live in reality. That he thinks these are his strongest arguments for the UK Union says a lot about the lack of benefits of this outdated political union. If this is their best reason to stay, roll on the day when we have the power to build a fairer and more prosperous Scotland.